to serve as that joint. So we'll go ahead and bring it in, take the size down, and just put it sort of in that opening that we've created there. It doesn't have to match exactly. We just want a point where visually it looks like that could be used to sort of rotate the leg around. Okay, and then the bottom leg is going to be fairly straightforward. It's basically just a kind of a tapered cylinder. And so let's bring in a cylinder, and we'll put it over into position. Let's take our rotation segments down. I like to have those down a little bit lower so we have something that's a little bit easier to work with. And then let's give ourselves a few segments on the height. So maybe 3 or 4. That's going to be a little bit tall there, so let's bring that over from the front view and then also from the side view. And let's take our radius down a bit. We'll kind of match it up with the top part of the leg there. Okay, so we got something like that. Again, I want to be able to see the lines, so I'm going to go to Garage Shading and turn those lines on. Now for the caps, I want to give ourselves a couple of segments there on the cap. And so we can kind of get something like that, and then I'm just going to make that editable and begin to do a little bit of shaping. So here from the side view, grab the points. And I want to make sure that I've got only visible elements turned off still. And I'll go in and scale this down, move it down, and it's very clear where that needs to go. So I'll scale that. Again, I'm overshooting a little bit if we're going to be smoothing this. So scale that down, and this one needs to come back a little bit. And then this one, I'll pull that back and scale it up. I'm just doing this uniformly, assuming this is going to be fairly round, but we may want it to be a little bit more oblong once we get into it. And then the last one, we'll kind of pull this up. We'll scale this out quite a bit, kind of flare it out a little bit. Okay, and now you can see we get that sort of the shape there. Now, I also want to have this come down around the feet, and I don't want the feet to be sticking out completely straight. So I just want to make sure that I've got, I think I want like one of these faces to be the front of the foot. So instead of having this line be the front, we can have this sort of face be the front. And so let's select, go to select, we'll grab these 2 points, and then skip one, grab those 2, and we'll kind of pull those down a little bit. And we'll make that kind of the side. Okay, let's grab these 2 back here, pull those down a little bit. And so we just want to make a shape that looks something like that. Okay, now let's grab the edges here. And I'm just going to do a loop selection. And right now you can see I've selected the boundary, and that might not make sense because this is actually closed piece. But whenever you create something, a primitive like a cylinder, let me select this point, it's not actually connected together. So what we can do to make that happen is to bring in a connect object. And what that's going to do is it's going to use a threshold, and any points that are within that threshold, it's going to weld those together. So let's bring the cylinder inside of this connect, and then all you have to do, you've got the weld selected and then a tolerance. All you have to do is take the connect and just make that connect editable. And now if we select our point, you can see it's welded. So if I were to go in and try to do a loop selection with just the boundary loop, it wouldn't work this time. So I'll turn that off, select that, and let's bevel it to kind of soften that up a bit. And let's also bevel the top. So select, loop, and bevel. Now we can also take those polygons on the top there. And whenever we can't see, it's a good idea to just check and make sure we don't have something selected that we don't want. In this case, we don't. So let's go ahead and extrude that in just to make some room for that knee joint. Okay, and then when we smooth this, I want to have certain of these edges be nice and tight. So let's use our knife to take care of that. So I'll add an edge loop right here, tighten up those edges. And then also up at the top, I want to get a nice sort of mechanical feel to this. Don't want it to be too soft looking. So now let's add our subdivision, drop that inside, and we can see what that looks like. Now you can see that right now it's a little bit too big up there, but we've got our nice taper at the bottom. All you have to do to change the shape is to go back in, select your object, and just tweak it a little bit. So in this one, we just want to pull it up slightly, maybe forward a little bit, and then maybe take our entire object and just pull it over slightly. And you can see it's off a little bit, but you can come in and just tweak the points to match that up exactly if you want to. So once we've got the foot, the next thing that we want, or the leg rather, then the next thing that we want to add is